Okay, so we're just going to do week one review of the short game clinic, and the theme of the lesson is making good contact. So whatever shot you need to do to reliably repeat that shot, you need to be making consistent contact. And how do we do that? Well, the common problem with everyone, with most people, is that it's the misunderstanding of where the low point is in the swing. Often I hear people talk about getting under the ball, or trying to lift the ball, and that's not what you're trying to do. What you're trying to do is use the club and the design of the club to correctly, and the ball will lift by itself just by making it the correct motion. Okay, so here we've got the, I've just used it demonstrating here on the right, the low point, and most people would say the low point's going to be there, but in reality, the low point will be a lot more forward. So here I go back, and I've put the towel there to indicate whether I catch the ground first or after. As I come down, it's coming, the club is going down, down, down. Either, I don't know, I think it misses the tea towel there. You see here, at this point here, you've got the ball and the club in the air, so the club hasn't hit the ground yet, so the low point's not where the ball is. And then as we come through, ball's lifting due to the loft of the club and the backspin I've created by hitting down, making the ball spin backwards up the club. You can see the almost the black line on the club. I'll make that bigger. You can see how that line rotates. See, straight away the ball is spinning backwards, and that creates lift. And the club itself is still in the air. And the low point is pretty much where that line is. Let's go through. There it is there. Okay, you can see I'm brushing the ground almost. I'm still at my left toe. I'm still on the ground. Okay, Jack Nicklaus would call it 12 inches after the ball, the club is low. Then it comes up gradually, not in an attempt to lift. So the common theme when we're chipping, because we're not sure about the concept of impact, is we try to scoop the ball up, which is contrary to the design of the club. And so now, I'll just show you, I'll just go back a fraction. Okay, so in this case, I haven't put any shaft lean for those who've done week 3. Okay, and so you'll see that as I come through, that I don't match that. I actually try to, oops, that's me going back to setup, sorry. There it is there. That's the flick. A tendency to try and lift, and the club comes up early, so the low point here, it may even be before the ball. Sorry for the frame rate, it's a bit blurry. And so it's an attempt to lift. And so when you get to your finish position, you'll see the club high, and the body hasn't rotated, and your weight, often, I'm exaggerating this, the weight goes back to that right side, which is another part of the lessons that we'll talk about. Okay, so that's that flicking motion that we all do to some degree. And so what we're going to do in the clinic is try and reduce that tendency to flick and try and lift, and try to create a feeling of the club staying low. So how we achieve that is it starts in your setup, and we make a triangle with our arms. Definitely have to have that triangle, I call it long arms. And now, rather than using my hands and my wrists and my arms, I'm going to move the triangle with my body by rotating, by turning. It's a bit hard to describe on a video, but did it through the lesson. So I don't slide. I turn my body towards a target. I turn my body towards a target and around. And in this case, we're going to have no backswing. Okay, we're just going to isolate the fundamental problem that we're all doing. Okay, now here, I call it a meter through. So I practice, sorry about that, pushing through a meter through. And we call this the brush drill. So we're brushing the grass, brush, 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 pushing with my right hip and my tummy, keeping that triangle, keeping the club nice and low, and getting used to this finished position here, which I call a meter through. And at that point there, you can check, Do I still have my triangle that I had it set up? Yes, I do. Is my club pointing to my left hip, which is another indicator which we spoke about? And then as far as the body goes, we can check, is my weight on my left side, and have I turned my hips? And you can tell here, because my right knee's kicked in, that my hips have turned to make the movement. Okay, now once you've done that, then you can add a ball. Okay, so now I add a ball. I'm just hold my tummy there to show you what I'm doing there. I'm using my tummy to push, and I don't try to hit the ball far. I try to keep the ball on the club face and push it along the ground. No effort to lift. I think I'll do that again. Okay, and then I push through to my brush drill finish, and I hold. Very important to hold that position so you can check what you've done after you've actually done the swing. So really handy thing that professionals do. Great form, easy little add-on to your swing. Hold that finish until the ball stops moving is a great habit. And just lastly, just once again, we'll check triangle. Oops, sorry. We'll check the triangle. Check the butt of the club's left hip. Weight on left side, and my hips have turned. After that, you want to add a backswing. So now we add a backswing, and just try and go back as short as possible, no longer than a metre. I go a bit too long on these, I think. That's the brush drill. I'm going to do the backswing. Okay, so what I'm doing here is establishing, oh, there it is there. Okay, so from here, I'm doing my backswing, and now if I'm confident and I've practiced that brush drill finish, that's too long, that backswing. And then as I come through, I now match that up with the finish as close as possible to the brush drill finish. So now I know where I'm swinging to. Then from there, you need to start then checking, are you catching the grass? Are you catching the carpet, or are you catching the grass, or are you catching the mat? I highly suggest that you go down to Drummond and get one of these mats, or you can get online. Great for practicing at home. And so here again, now I'm doing the action. Don't worry about that wrist hinge. And now I'm working on finding the low point. That's going to change. Sometimes the ball is going to be above your feet, below your feet. So very important that you catch that low point, catch the grass. And by keeping your arms, by working to your brush drill finish, you're guaranteeing that the club is going to stay low. As I said, the only variable is you must start working on finding the grass, and that's something that you really can't teach. It's just to be aware of that, and you need to practice that. And you'll see that players will, before they do every shot, will just establish where is the bottom of my swing, where is that ground, and then you'll either see a divot or the grass hit, depending on the lie, etc. Okay, now once you've done that, you can add a ball. So you're going to test that swing on a ball. It's really hard to do. It's mind over matter. You have to resist trying to hit the ball and test the swing that you've been practicing. Don't worry about too much where the ball goes at this stage. Can you do that swing on a ball? And there's that brush drill finish. Okay, now, the only reason this swing here would go wrong is if I didn't catch the ground. And if you catch the ground regularly, you can actually get away with a bit of the technique as well. You might not have to do it perfectly, but very important that you find that grass. And there's only one way to get that going, as I said, is you need to practice that. And certainly before you hit every chip shot, establish where that bottom of the swing is. And after a little while, you don't even think about it anymore. Okay? And just so you can see what I'm doing here on the right, this is just me, this is just showing the setup I've got here. And all I'm doing there is coming back my meter, through my meter, caught the bit of the towel that time. Ball, see the club going through low there again, low club into the little beanbag. Ball comes back to me, I do it again. Okay, now, lastly, if you find that when you get to this finish position that you haven't got those checkpoints, I recommend don't hit another ball. Go back through the brush drill, get that going, work on the swing and finding the bottom of your swing, and then repeat. If it's still not working, then you need to that just means we're not doing the motion. Give it a few days to get the feel for it and to start to create a bit of muscle memory to get this action. But you all did very well during the lessons, so I think you're going to be fine. Okay, any questions, let me know.